For cheap PoE currencies, visit aoeah.com. Check the link in the description, you get 3% off with the code ARIAD. Hello and welcome everybody. Today I've got another OP build guide for you. This time I will show you how I have built my monk. A good friend who is an experienced PoE player has helped me a bit, so I can present to you my super strong elemental monk. He primarily is a melee fighter focusing on the elements ice and lightning, but he also has great area damage and ranged attacks. His advantages are a fast clear speed and also his crowd control. Freezing enemies very fast is an argument that really pays in boss fights and makes them become very easy. It is also nice that you can start playing this build in the early game and develop it to endgame, and it already becomes very strong without any expensive stuff. Let's go step by step. First, my active skills. Ice Strike is the main attack. You can already start playing it at level 14. Here we need the support gems Ice Bite, Martial Tempo and Concentrated Effect. Storm Wave is my secondary attack for range attacks, but in the early game you won't need it too much. Here I play Magnified Effect, Long Shot and Conduction. Tempest Bell is a very important skill, which we will use to freeze enemies faster and spray more area damage. Here we put Glaciation and Overabundance, and later we also add Rage for more damage. You will always have to attack a few times before you can cast the bell, but since you also get it very soon, you already got your two main skills in the early game, Ice Strike and Tempest Bell. During mid-game at level 31, you can add the skill Charged Staff, but it will also need a certain passive skill and a buff which we will talk about in a moment. Like the name says, this skill will charge our staff with electric energy, adding lightning damage and shock waves to your attacks, at the cost of power charges. My support gems are Innervate, Perpetual Charge and Supercritical. Hand of Chayula is my last skill, but I hardly use it at the moment. You can cast it to mark an enemy, so he gets more lightning damage. Therefore we put the skill stone Voltaic Mark in here. It is not a support gem, so that's something special here. Then we have the 4 permanent buffs I play. Herald of Ice comes in as soon as you get your first 30 spirit in Act 1 normal. First we wanna make sure to freeze monsters fast, so we can easily run through the early game. Here we need the support gems Cold Infusion and Cold Mastery. Latter one is a level 3 support gem, so you can craft it kinda late. But if you have some other character who can create it, or if you get one by trading, you can already use it from the beginning. This of course applies to all support gems. Next comes Combat Frenzy, so usually you will get it when completing the side quest in Act 3 for 30 more spirit. We will need Combat Frenzy to use Charged Staff, because it generates frenzy charges, which we will convert to power charges by our passive tree. For getting more charges, we put in Profusion. For the last 2 buffs you will need more spirit, so in general you will be able to use them in the endgame. But when getting some amulet and body armor that add extra points to spirit, you can do so much earlier. At about level 50, I did some trades to get new equipment, so I was able to play the second difficulty with all buffs and show you everything in this video yet. I did not pay more than 1 exalted orb per item, but you don't even need to do so. The monk already is OP within the campaign without the 2 extra buffs, but of course they will add more damage. Herald of Thunder adds lightning bolts coming down from the sky, and for support we add Lightning Mastery, Culling Strike and Clarity. Clarity is a support gem you should urgently play when having any mana problems. You could also put it in Herald of Ice instead, if not playing Herald of Thunder yet. Last I got Herald of Ash without any support gems, because it is just for igniting enemies, so we get some extra damage from the passive skill tree. Shortly for the Ascendancy, we choose the Invoker and first skill to I am the Blizzard. Next I got I am the Thunder, but alternatively you can also go for Lead Me Through Grace to get more spirit points. In the regular tree we pick speed and damage first, but then we skill around the loop to Essence of the Mountain, so we get more freeze build up. With the attribute nodes, we skill dexterity and intelligence, just like we need for our skills and equipment. Then the following clusters are important first. Conservative casting is great for your mana pool. Tenfold attacks and killer instinct add attack speed and damage. Resonance is the skill we need for using charged staff, it converts the charges. And Echoing Frost also pays to get work soon. We will add Echoing Thunder as soon as we use charged staff, and Echoing Flames when activating Herald of Ashes, or if you have some fire damage on your gear. Then there is a nice cluster you will care about later. Its position is at the right edge, and it is formed like a quarterstaff. There you want to get Whirling Assault and On the River first. Later you can also add the crit nodes down below. But first there is something more powerful, just a step downwards. Coming Calamity adds extra damage while affected by the different heralds, so at the point you activate all of them, you also want to skill here as soon as possible. Then there is one more cluster in the inner of the tree, Harness the Elements. This one also pays, since we make use of all elements here. So that's the most important nodes for playing towards the endgame. Later we can add more critical strike chance and damage. There are several options near our path. Finally, the equipment. Your quarterstaff should have much cold and lightning damage, but physical damage also is not completely wrong, since Ice Strike converts 80% of the damage to cold, but you look for nice cold and light damage values first. Further useful affixes are increased elemental damage with attacks, melee skill levels, or attack speed. With your armor pieces you should aim for high energy shield and evasion values, and of course resistances are very important. Life is always welcome as well, just as mana regeneration and mana after kill. For getting extra spirit points, you can look for amulets and body armors. And it is also nice if you have some extra fire damage on some item, so you can ignite bosses and profit from the corresponding damage boosts. I have prepared some sheets for you, but you will also find a planner link in the description below. Finally, a few words on the gameplay. As I mentioned, Ice Strike is our main attack, and mouse players should put it on the right button and keep it pressed to automatically dash forward and attack targets. For all enemies that don't instantly die, we use our Tempest Bell, so in general elite packs and bosses. During boss fights, we can extremely benefit from the Tempest Bell, freezing our target very fast and keeping it under control by recasting the bell again and again. So boss fights are kinda easy, and later on, when unfolding the damage of this build, the bosses also die very fast. In the endgame, Stormwave will become more and more interesting. When running maps, you really don't want to die, so you will avoid direct contact to several monsters. So that was my first monk guide. I really like the build and can't wait to further develop it within the endgame. But for the first I say goodbye at this point. Have a nice weekend and a Merry Christmas if we don't meet before. So take care and may the loot be with you.
Follow me. Thank you. Goodbye.